Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yeah, today is the 19th of June 2021 and the time now is 6:16 a.m. Well, today we have a reading session and we are going to read the book's Atomic Habit. And before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so today we start from line 755, is it? Okay.
Okay. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. In 1965, a Hungarian man named László Póker wrote a series of strange letters to a woman named Clara.
Laszlo was a firm believer in hard work. In fact, it was all he believed in. He completely rejected the idea of innate talent. He claimed that with deliberate practice and the development of good habits, a child could become a genius in any field. His mantra was, "A genius is not born, but is educated and trained."
László believed in this idea so strongly that he wanted to test it with his own children, and he was writing to Clara because he needed a wife willing to jump on board. Clara was a teacher, and although she may not have been as adamant as Laszlo, she also believed that with proper instructions, anyone could advance their skills.
Laszlo decided chess would be a suitable field for the experiment, and he laid out a plan to raise his children to become chess prodigies. The kids would be homeschooled, a reality in Hungary at the time. The house would be filled with chess books and pictures of famous chess players. The children would play against each other constantly and compete in the best tournaments they could find. The family would keep a meticulous, thorough system of the tournament history of every competitor the children faced. Their lives would be dedicated to chess.
Laszlo successfully counted Clara, and within a few years, the Pogers were parents to three young girls, Susan, Sophia, and Judith. Susan, the oldest, began playing chess when she was 4 years old. Within 6 months, she was defeated adult. Sophia, the middle child, did even better. By 14, she was a world champion, and a few years later, she became a grandmaster.
Judith, the youngest, was the best of all. By age 5, she could beat her father. At 12, she was the youngest player ever listed among the top 100 chess players in the world. At 15 years and 4 months old, she became the youngest grandmasters of all time, younger than Bobby Fischer, Fischer, the previous record holder. For 27 years, she was the #1 ranked female chess player in the world.
The childhood of the Plover sisters was atypical, to say the least, and yet, if you ask them about it, they claimed their lifestyle was attractive, even enjoyable. In interviews, the sisters talk about their childhood as entertaining rather than grueling. They loved playing chess. They couldn't get enough of it. Once, Laszlo reportedly found Sophia playing chess in the bathroom in the middle of the night, encouraging her to go back to sleep. He said, "Sophia, leave the pieces alone." To which she replied, "Daddy, they won't leave me alone."
The Polgar sisters grew up in a culture that prioritized chess above all else, praised them for it, rewarded them for it. In their world, an obsession with chess was normal. And as we are about to see, whatever habits are normal in your culture are among the most attractive behaviors you will find.
The seductive code of social norms. Humans are herd animals. We want to fit in, to bond with others, and to earn the respect and approval of our peers. Such inclinations are essential to our survival. For most of our evolutionary history, our ancestors lived in tribes. Becoming separated from the tribe, or worse, being cast out, was a death sentence. The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
Meanwhile, those who collaborated and bonded with others enjoy increased safety, mating opportunities, and access to resources. As Charles Darwin noted, in the long history of humankind, those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed. As a result, one of the deepest human desires is to belong, and this ancient preference exerts a powerful influence on our modern behavior.
We don't choose our early habits. We don't choose our earliest habits. We imitate them. We follow the script handed down by our friends and family, our church or school, our local community and society at large. Each of, each of these cultures and groups comes with its own set of expectations and standards. When and whether to get married, how many children to have, which holidays to celebrate, how much money to spend on your child's birthday party. In many ways, these social norms are the invisible rules that guide your behavior each day. You're always keeping them in mind, even if they're not top of your mind. Often, you follow the habit of your culture without thinking, without questioning, and sometimes without remembering. As a French philosopher, Michel The Monday wrote, the customs and practices of life in society sweep us along.
Most of the time, going along with the group does not feel like a burden. Everyone wants to belong. If you grow up in a family that rewards you for your chess skills, playing chess will seem like a very attractive thing to do. If you work in a job where everyone wears expensive suits, then you'll be inclined to splurge on one as well. If all of your friends are sharing an inside joke or using a new phrase, you want to do it too, so they know that you get it. Behaviors are attractive when they help us fit in.
This one okay, which is in the last two lines. The first word is joke. You
Oh,
pronounce joke.
okay. So it's joke. Okay. Joke.
We imitate the habits of three groups in particular: the close, the many, the powerful. Each group offers an opportunity to leverage the second law of behavior change and make our habits more attractive. Imitating the close. Proximity has a powerful effect on our behavior. It's true of the physical environment, and we discussed in chapter 6. But it's also true of the social environment.
We pick up habits from the people around us. We copy the way our parents handle arguments, the way our peers flirt with one another, the way our coworkers get results. When your friends smoke pot, you give it a try too. When your wife has a habit of double checking that the door is locked before going to bed, you pick it up as well.
I find I often imitate the behavior of those around me without realizing it. In conversation, I automatically assume the body postures of the other person. In college, I began to talk like my roommate. When traveling to other countries, I unconsciously imitate the local accents despite reminding myself to stop.
Last line, the first word. Uh, we need the sound of the K, so it's like
Okay,
accent, and you pronounce
accent.
accent.
Okay, accent.
As a general rule, the closer we are to someone, the more likely we are to imitate some of their habits. One groundbreaking study tracked 12,000 people for 32 years and found that a person's chances of becoming obese increased by 57% if he or she had a friend who became obese. It works the other way too. Another study found that if one person in a relationship lost weight, the other partner would also slim down about one-third of the time. Our friends and family provide a sort of invisible peer pressure that pulls us in their direction.
Of course, peer pressure is bad, only if you're surrounded by bad influences. When astronaut Mike Missimino was a graduate student at MIT. he took a small robotics class. Of the 10 people in the class, four became astronauts. If your goal was to make it into space, then that room was about the best culture you could ask for. Similarly, similarly, one study found that the higher your best friend's IQ at age 11 or 12, the higher IQ would be at age 15. Even after controlling for natural levels of intelligence, we soak up the qualities and practices of those around us.
One of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. New habits seems achievable when you see others doing them every day. If you are surrounded by fit people, you are more likely to consider working out to be a common habit. If you are surrounded by jazz lovers, you are more likely to believe it's reasonable to play jazz every day. Your culture sets your expectations for what is normal. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have yourself. You'll rise together.
To make your habits even more attractive, you can take this strategy one step further. To a culture where first, your desired behavior is a normal behavior, and second, you already have something in common with the group. Steve Camp, an entrepreneur in New York City, runs a company called Nerd Fitness, which helps nerds, misfits, and mutant lose weight, lose weight, get strong, and get healthier, and get healthy. His clients include video game lovers, movie fanatics, and average Joes who want to get in shape. Many people feel out of place the first time they go to the gym or try to change their diet. But if you're already similar to the other members of the group in some way, say your mutual love of Star Wars, change becomes more appealing because it feels like something people like you already do.
Okay, second line, last second word. This is lose and you pronounce as lost.
Okay, lose.
Lose. And then the next line, this one. This is pronounced as fanatic and you pronounce fanatics.
Fanatic.
So the stress is at the second syllable.
Okay, fanatic.
Nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to the tribe. It transforms a personal quest into a shared one. Previously, you were on your own. Your identity was singular. You are a reader. You are a musician. You are an athlete. When you join a book club or a band or a cycling group, your identity becomes linked to those around you. Growth and change is no longer an individual pursuit. We are readers, we are musicians, we are cyclists. The shared identity begins to reinforce your personal identity. This is why remaining part of a group after achieving a goal is crucial and maintaining your habits. It's friendship and community that embedded a new identity and help behaviors last over the long run.
imitating the many. In the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a series of experiments that are now taught to legions of undergrads each year. To begin each experiment, the subject enters the room with a group of strangers. Unbeknownst to them, the other participants were actors planted by the researchers and instructed to deliver scripted answers to certain questions.
Okay, second line, the fourth words. This is legions, and you pronounce as
Legion.
legends.
Okay, legion.
The group would be shown one card with a line on it, and then a second card with a series of lines. Each person was asked to select the line of the second card that was similar in the length to the line on the first card. It was a very simple task. Here is an example of two cards used in the experiment.
Conforming to social norms. Figure 10 representations of two cards used by Solomon Asch in his famous social conformity experiments. The length of the line on the first card left is obviously the same as line C, but when a group of actors claimed it was a different length, the research subject would often change their minds and go with the crowd rather than believe their own eyes.
Okay, second line, third word. This is conformity, and the first syllable is con, and you pronounce as conformity.
Okay, conformity.
Yeah, so it's con. The experiments, the experiments always began the same. First, there would be some easy trials where everyone agreed on the correct line. After a few rounds, the participants were shown a test that was just as obvious as the previous ones, except the actors in the room would select an intentionally incorrect answers. For example, they would respond A to the comparison shown in figure 10. Everyone would agree that the lines were the same even though they were clearly different.
The subject who was unaware of the rules would immediately become bewildered. Their eyes would open wide. They would laugh nervously to themselves. They would double-check the reactions of other participants. Their, their agitations would grow as one person after another delivered the same incorrect response. Soon the subject began to doubt their own eyes. Eventually, they delivered the answers they knew in their heart to be incorrect.
Yeah, first line, second word. This is subject, and you pronounce subject. So the stress should be at the first syllable.
The subject.
Yeah, subject. Asch ran these experiments many times and in many different ways. What he discovered was that as the number of actors increased, so did the conformity of the subject. If it was just the subject and one actor, then there was no effect on the person's choice. They just assumed they were in the room with a dummy. When two actors were in the room with the subject, there was still little impact. But as the number of people increased to 3 actors and 4 and all the way to 8, the subject became more likely to second guess themselves. By the end of the experiment, nearly 75% of the subjects had agreed with the group answer, even though it was obviously incorrect.
Whenever we are unsure how to act, we look to the group to guide our behavior. We are constantly scanning our environments and wondering, what's everyone else doing? We check reviews on Amazon or Yelp or TripAdvisor because we want to imitate the best buying, eating, and travel habits. It's usually a smart strategy. There's evidence in numbers.
But there can be a downside. But they can be a downside. The normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers the desired behaviors of the individual. For example, one study found that when a chimpanzee learns an effective way to crack nuts open as a member of one group, and then switches to a new group that uses a less effective strategy, it will avoid using the superior nut cracking method just to blend in with the rest of the chimps.
Humans are similar. There's a tremendous internal pressure to comply with the norms of the group. The reward of being accepted is often greater than the reward of winning an argument, looking smart, or fighting through. Most days would rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves.
The human mind knows how to get along with others. It wants to get along with others. This is our natural mode. You can override it. You can choose to ignore the group or to stop caring what other people think. But it takes work. Running against the grain of your culture requires extra effort.
And changing a habit means challenging the tribe. Change is unattractive, and changing your habits means fitting in with the tribe. Change is very attractive.
Imitating the powerful. Humans everywhere pursue power, prestige, and status. We want pins and medallions on our jackets. We want president or partner in our titles. We want to be acknowledged, recognized, and praised. This tendency can seem vain, but overall is a smart move. Historically, a person with greater power and status has access to more resources, worries less about survival, and proves to be a more attractive mate.
How to pronounce the last word in the first line?
Medallions. Medallions. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Is it
I
correct?
think yeah, I think this this I think this one this phonetic is wrong, right? This phonetic symbol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we change it to iron.
Mm. We are drawn to behaviors that earns us respect, approval, admirations, and status. We want to be the ones in the gym who can do muscle-ups, or the musicians can play the hardest to the hardest chord progressions, or the parents with the most accomplished children, because these things separate us from the crowd. Once we fit in, we start looking for ways to stand out.
This is one reason we care so much about the habits of highly effective people. We try to copy the behavior of successful people because we desire success ourselves. Many of our daily habits are imitations of people we admire. You replicate the marketing strategies of the most successful firms in your industry. You make a recipe from your favorite baker. You borrow the storytelling strategies of your favorite writer. You, you mimic the communication style of your boss. We imitate people we envy.
High status people enjoy the approval, respect, and praise of others. And that means if a behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive.
We are also motivated to avoid behaviors that would lower our status. We trim our hedge, we trim our hedges and mow our lawns because we don't want to be the slob of the neighborhood. When our mother comes to visit, we clean up the house because we don't want to be judged. We are continually wondering, what will others think of me? And altering our behavior based on the answer.
The Polgar sisters, the chess prodigies mentioned at the beginning of this chapter, are evidence of the powerful and lasting impact social influences can have on our behavior. The sisters practiced chess for many hours each day and continued this remarkable effort for decades. But these habits or behaviors maintained their attractiveness in part because they were valued by their culture, from the praise of their parents to the achievement of different status markers like becoming a grandmaster. They had many reasons to continue their effort.
Yeah, I have read until here.
Okay.
Yep. How about making a summary of the part we read today?
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah. Firstly, it shows how uh how we will affected by uh the things that
Environment.
around us. Yeah, environment. Yeah. These are basically let's say the family background, our friend circle. Yeah, and also one thing I remember is that we don't follow our earliest habit. and we actually follow based on three uh, 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 direction. And the first is the person which is closest to us. And the second is we follow the majority, and they use many in the book. And the last one is we follow uh, the most powerful, or the powerful one. Yeah. So um, they say there is a reward if we follow them. It's something like uh, we are being recognized, we are being acknowledged, we accept something which the other people do. And I think for this one, it could be both sides. First is from the other people. We do it, and then other people see it. Uh, it's something like they approve it, and then we feel rewarded. And another way is, I think, it's from inside, which from ourselves. When we do something, we think which is as good as other people, or the same as other people, and then maybe we will also feel rewarded, or we feel maybe secured. Yep. And then yeah, and then this make us feel maybe uncomfortable if we do not follow the group, do not follow the powerful, the closest, the many. And then but also it mentioned that we are human, we can choose to not follow the three groups that I mentioned just now. And then this actually make me reminds of what's that, the lie down conversation. Yeah, for that conversations, because I think because we have the norms, we have the culture, so we like to do what other people do, and then we like to get the so-called success that other people obtain. And then but for people that embrace the lie down uh, concept, and then they actually go against the group, so which is the same like uh, in this in this book, and say that we can choose to go against, which we can choose not to follow, but it will take efforts, because not following the group is something that unattractive. Yeah. So yeah, so these are my summary.
Yeah, one thing worth to mention again, which is what you say just now, we can choose the environment, we can choose the group. So no matter it is like the close, the many, or the powerful I think here means the experts. And for example, your close friends, your family, your relative may have different idea with you,
Yeah.
and they may have similar idea with the many, but they still have a small group. Maybe it's powerful, or maybe it is a small group outside the circle on the internet, and then they have the similar idea with you, and then you can join them. So remember, I'm not sure whether the reader remember, we have actually one similar idea, similar concept in the first law of behavior change, which is you don't change your behavior. Sorry, I miss okay, it's something like that. The example is the horse. The example is the horse, and I think wait a minute. yeah, it's in a queue. It's in the first law of behavior change. So we don't try to overcome. We don't try to like stop ourselves doing something, and we try to avoid it. We try to avoid the environment. We don't try to use our self-controlling ability and then to resist. Yes, the proper term is resist. To resist the crave, to resist the cue. Yeah. So that means we don't try to resist our habits. We try to avoid the cue, or we try to avoid the trigger, or maybe some other things. Yeah. So it's the same. We don't try to resist us to something like drag ourselves from an environment. We try to join a new environment if there's no environment around you. You try to join a new environment. So we can try to join a new group. And then at the same time, your focus shift from resisting the existing environments to focus on the new environments, to put your effort in the new environment. So you are not resisting something. You actually kind of avoid. You pay your attention. You're not paying attention on the existing environments. You pay your attention on the new environment. Yeah.
Yep.
And then this close, many, and powerful. Inside the many, they still have many small group. For example, the lie down, and this is in online. There's still a small group. Yeah, small group, and it's not that small. It's a few thousand people around in the group. And then China governments also like banned and then block the group, and then ask the internet company to block those to close the account of those people who embrace this idea. So it's something like they try to stop them, and then try to close their group so that they cannot group together, so they cannot like have a new environment. They cannot like gather together, so the idea, the concept will become stronger and stronger. So they won't. It's something like to from atomic habits perspective, is something like to cut their crave. And then the same idea. This environment we can link to the cue. So the environment is about the cue, is also about the crave. And if we want to crave on something, we can join a group that the people in the group like to do the thing, and then we have some common habits. Yeah, you have the common habits with the people in the group. Yeah. And it will be better. It will be better. Yeah.
Yeah, it is called what's that? The bundling, right? I forgot already.
I think it's not. I think it's not. The idea here is because the people who doing the same thing, the people who doing the same thing as you, already doing something that you want to do. For example, you want to play basketball, and then you like watching movie, and then you join a basketball team, and then they all like to watch movie. So these people who same as you who like to watch movie, they also like to play the basketball. Yeah. So the people, same as you, the people who like watching movie like you, they are playing basketball. So does it mean that you also should play basketball? Yeah, is this idea. Yeah. I think in which line the author also have mentioned this. I forget which line. But never mind. We can check after that.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is about the environment. And environment between the queue and also between the crates. So if you want to mix these two together and then try to use the environment to utilize the environment in order to achieve both of the queue and also the crate. So you want to use one rock to kill two birds. One rock to kill two birds.
Yeah.
And then yeah, first we know we can join new environments rather than resisting the current environment. And then when we join the environment, it also means that because this is a new environment to us, we can escape from our current environment, which our old habit or associate with which is the environment that our habit already associated with. And then we join a new environment, so we can form a new queue. We can form the new habits. It will be more easier.
Yeah.
So that means environment is really powerful.
Yep.
Okay, so this is my summary.
Yeah.
Anything want to add in?
Yeah, I think no.
Okay. So that's all for our today conversations. How do you feel? Did you enjoy the conversations? Please tell us what you think of our conversations. And we are not native speakers. If you found any vocabulary mistake that we made, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like and subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.